speaking of novel strategies for HER2-positive breast cancer, there have been a number, I think, that are very, very close now to clinical application, actually approval by the regulatory authorities. And the first of those that we want to kind of touch on is biosimilar trastuzumab. And I know, Hope, at this year's ESMO meeting, you're going to talk more about that. You had one presentation at ASCO this year. Can you kind of fill us in on where we are with that?
So the whole idea of biosimilars, to me, is quite exciting. And we have already approved biosimilars for the treatment of autoimmune diseases and now for supportive care with filgrastim. And the idea with biosimilars is that you're actually creating an agent which is biologically similar, and it's different from these small chemicals like letrozole where you have, you can just make it and put it into the market because chemically it's the same. These actually have big regulatory guidelines for how they're going to be demonstrated to be similar, not more immunogenic, and relatively safe, so you want similar safety. We studied a biosimilar trastuzumab in comparison to the commercially available trastuzumab in combination with taxane of choice as first-line therapy for metastatic HER2-positive breast cancer, and showed equivalent response rates, which was the primary endpoint. The initial response rates were at 24 weeks, which was the primary endpoint, but our secondary endpoints included progression-free survival and overall survival, which we're presenting at ESMO now, and they're also equivalent, but what's important is we are nowhere near overall survival median, which is certainly encouraging at 48 weeks, because we shouldn't be. And PFS actually is still, we haven't even gotten to the 50% of the events. So it looks really good, and we also have shown no additional immunogenicity, cardiac toxicity, safety is similar, and this, I think, will lead to approval of biosimilar trastuzumab in Europe, where the patent is already done for the commercially available trastuzumab, and later in the US. But most importantly, I'm hoping that the competition will lead to a better cost and then better access for trastuzumab around the world. I think it's always surprising to us to see how few countries really have access to trastuzumab the way we use it. There also will be a neoadjuvant trastuzumab that will be presented and show equivalent results as well at the same poster discussion session at ESMO.
So in Europe, gentlemen, do you think that biosimilar trastuzumab will become the standard of care once approved?
In my country, I can say that the authorities, let's say, encourage to use biosimilar for financial reasons.
Right.
Provided that the safety and efficacy is similar, the answer is clear, yes, because obviously our economies need that kind of new drugs if they have the same efficiency. But I would say let's wait for the results. So I still believe, Hope, what you are telling us, and you are giving us, I think, a presentation, but I want to see the data.
I think that what's really important here to me is the competition that will reduce the prices, and that's going to be critical for these countries where they, have access to 9 weeks of adjuvant trastuzumab, and that's it, or none, and you have to pay out of pocket. It's really, this is a drug which saves lives, and we need to make it more available.